On my 12th drunken Christmas, my true love bought for me 12 dirty Vimtos, 11 shots of vodka, 10 double whiskies, 9 kegs of ale, 8 pints of Guinness, 7 tequila slammers, 6 German lagers, 5 Jaeger bombs, 4 pints of cider, 3 double gins, 2 rum and cokes. Then I threw up behind a tree. If you're good, I'll play the whole thing of that a bit later on. Good evening and welcome to this week's Fizzy Brain. We're on episode 5? Yes, episode 5. My name is Aubrey Blakeledge and this is Fizzy Brain, which is a stream podcast thing, vanity project, talking about creativity and how my brain works and how I put together ideas and various other things. Telling the people that keep me on the road how I keep on the road. That makes sense. What I do on the road. I say on the road, I do in this office, basically. Sharing the lengths I do, well, the lengths that I go to avoid actual work. This show is split into 2 parts. One, where I explain what I'm meant to be doing, and the second, what I've actually been doing. So what I'm meant to do is the stuff that pushes my career forwards, gets people interested in my music, develops my oeuvre further, and the second part is the massive amounts of procrastination I get involved in to get out of various things. Okay, so let's start off with what I've actually been doing, and I will answer questions that will go on in the chat at the same time. I also, for those of you that haven't joined me before, I do a sort of audio description of what I'm doing because it turns out I have some visually impaired listeners, watchers, streamers, and also for the sake of those who are listening on podcast, if I say, look at this, and then there's nothing on, and obviously it's audio, it makes no sense. So there may be a little bit of Aubrey now picks up a drink. Aubrey now realises he hasn't got a drink. He has forgotten his drink and will have to make one later. So there's that. And also I will be chatting to the chat during the show, but I will be repeating what is said on the chat, again, for the benefit of those that aren't live in the stream. And starting forward, there's been a question asked in the chat, which I will answer very shortly by explaining what I've been doing and what I haven't been doing, because it's all connected. I'll come back to that in a second. So, work in progress, that sort of thing. Working on more material for various shows, because coming up at the end of this month is, well, actually the end of this week, and Saturday is one of the last of my shows. Last week with Tom B. Wild in the Brunswick and Hove was the last Sweet Chunks gig, which was lovely, absolutely bloody marvellous, despite the fact someone was determined to fall asleep in the front row of not just ours but Tom B. Wild's set. And when he did it in the middle of Tom's set, I realised I didn't need to take it personally, but this person seemed determined to fall asleep in the front row. It was very odd. Literally front of centre of the stage, this chap had decided, this is where I want to sleep, and sleep I shall. And he did, bless him, several times. Was woken up by his friends. I think they stuck pencils up his nose. But so yeah, there was that. There was the last Sweet Chunk show, which was absolutely marvellous. Lots of good fun and various other things. And then we had the we're going to have the last Aubrey Blakeledge solo show, where I think I might be comparing. I'm not sure. I haven't checked yet. That's going to be exciting for when I arrive. At the Exeter Phoenix this Saturday, which is the 14th. As part of the Steampunk Your Ball, which would be absolutely lovely. I'm going to do at least some of my music and also some other bits and pieces, and apparently introduce the bands as well, because that's apparently what I've been roped into doing as well. I say roped in like I'm doing it unwillingly. I love doing comparing, so I'll be well up for it. So preparing for that and working on some material, and the Woodland Gothic stuff is progressing nicely. I'm aiming to have for the Aubrey Strawberry Time mainstream, I'm going to have a couple of songs ready to play live, which will be new ones. I'm hoping, this is a really big hope, a second hope, that I will be able to play the next show and the next one of these, next Fizzy Brain show, I will be able to have a couple of rough songs for me to play to you guys to see what you guys think before playing on the main stream, and it'll be tight stuff, and then you guys get some exclusives and bits and pieces like that, which would be great. And so one of them is the Sometimes Always Never track, which is a song about fascism and waistcoats. Listen to or watch previous streams to et al. And all that. And the other is Pufferfish Blues, because at the weekend, while I was at the Brunswick playing a show, it seemed like everyone in Southampton, where I live, was seeing Funky and the Tuto Baby and Semantics play their Chaos tour, and they played an absolute blinder. And apparently, well, as it seems to be always, Funky decided to slag me off during the show, as he always seems to do, in the same way that I always slag him off. It's a slag for slag kind of thing. And so it reminded me, talking about this very song, where the two of us challenged each other to write a song about pufferfish, and he recorded it a year ago. Well, actually more than a year ago, because his album's a year old, so it was recorded 6 months before then. So a year and a half ago, he recorded his version. I still haven't recorded mine. So I decided I've got to get down and get it done. So hopefully, my aim for the last stream of the year, to have the Pufferfish Blues as a fuck you to Funky and the Two-Tone Baby. A lovely, for those of you who don't know, we are actually friends. It's not that we hate each other, because that would be really weird. It's a full piss take thing. There's, just in case you got worried and that we were actually going to slag each other off, we weren't going to do that. But yes, so there's that I'm meant to be working on. So the Pufferfish Blues, and maybe 2 songs can be ready if I stop procrastinating. But those of you who've been watching from the start will know how much I procrastinate, and this podcast is telling you how much I procrastinate. So there is a high chance I could fail miserably, but hopefully not. We'll see what happens. So got some new tracks coming up. I have the lineup for Awkward Strawberry is looking marvellous. So the next year's cabaret shows are looking good. The first one on the 14th, on Valentine's Day here in Southampton, is going to feature, hopefully, well actually no, I won't say that it's a hopeful thing, because then if they say no, even though they should be saying yes, if they say no, then it will be disappointing. But the first show is looking like it's going to be absolutely marvellous. And so I'm hoping in the next week to get that confirmed and then announced and such. So that's wonderful. All of the shows are looking like they're interesting and individual. We've got all kinds of musicians and comedians and artists and such coming together. So that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So there's that, which is good. I've been booking the Febury house shows thing. Those of you who are Patreon listeners will be aware that I posted up a little thing saying, oh yeah, come join me at the, well, if you want to put on a show, in your front room, that in January, February, I am doing a mini front room tour and small venue tour, and I've nearly actually booked it all up. So if you're interested in booking a show, give me a shout, and we can put together something fun if I've got the dates left. As of recording, I have, I think, 4 dates left of that tour to fill, and 3 of them people are chatting about. So that could be fun, and I'll be announcing that as and when. Oh, beg your pardon, I'm yawning a lot today. Drink if I yawn. God, you'd be drinking a lot if you were drinking along with me yawning. But yeah, it was a yeah. So those shows are looking good. Some of them will be open access for everyone. Some of them will be closed because some people don't want loads of people they don't know in their front rooms. Some people are well up for it. So if people want guests, I'll be announcing it on my listings as where it is, who it is, and who to speak to. And if it's closed, I'll just say it as a private party, that kind of thing. Anyway, so working on that, which was smashing the dates. And the next thing was the Blue Aubrey Badges. The final choices have come down to 2 left. So what I'm going to do for the audio descriptive listeners, I'm going to put the designs into the chat for everyone who is here to basically am I putting a thing in there? I've broken everything already. That's a good sign. So I'm going to put these things into the chat for everyone, which I've now apparently broken. This is good radio, as it were. And it's not letting me put pictures into this chat. That's fantastic. So I'm not going to do that. Brilliant. Well, that was that section over and done with right quickly. So I was going to suggest, because we're down to 3 designs left that people had, which was, again, this is great audio descriptive visual medium radio kind of thing, where there was 2 pictures of the chair and 1 picture of a fox face. So what I'll do is I'll just put it on somewhere and just make a decision, or I'll just make a decision myself. The problem is I was hoping to have the badges ready for today, so I can go, here's the badges we're going to talk about in a second. I'm going to talk about the first person that's got a blue Aubrey badge. For those of you who don't know, blue Aubrey badges were a suggestion from the chat, that whenever I do makes or builds or anything, that I ask people to send in their ideas of what they've done, like Blue Peter, but cheap and rubbish. I should offer the blue Aubrey badge for those that have created something special. And the problem is I've been using my work printer to print off all my badges, and the work printer is broken, so I'm going to have to go into a library and print it off in there. So hopefully I will have them ready for the next, so we'll talk about who's going to get one, and I'm going to start giving them out, because I need to get people who made the various sock puppet dragons over the last few weeks. I've finally got the last of the sock puppets together. I have all of the sock puppets that have been made at all my solo gigs are all together, so I'm going to do a sort of a heartbeat style, this is what's been made, and then can you come forward, because I want to give you a little Aubrey badge for those who have built them. So that will come up on regular social media, you'll be able to find that. It'll be absolutely fine. Check out Instagram, Facebook and all that rubbish, it'll be there. So one of the things that's been brought up in the chat, which is why I'm just sort of waiting for it now, is a talk about the new platform that I was working on. DKW Daft, or Danny, has been helping me try and get together a streaming platform where I can basically have guests, have other things, sync the vocal, the audio up and that sort of thing. And we tested a load of our ideas. I'm not using it right now because basically I had a lot of stuff to get together, sorted now and such. But we had a very interesting time, and as Danny has said in the chat, the 2 of us on Teams, we were chatting on Teams, was very fizzy indeed. It was very, very fizzy. We were all over the place trying to get everything sorted and such, but we got there in the end. And so, yes, the first blue Aubrey badge will be going out to Danny as soon as I get them made. And then we'll do the thing of like, we'll get him to take a photograph with one, and then we'll send them out. And then also I'm going to get a hold of the guys who've done the sock puppets, send them out to those guys as well. Some of you are in the chat actually. So yes, we'll get those sent out to people and start the ball rolling for more creative stuff. And maybe something we could do today where people can earn some blue Aubrey badges. We shall have to wait and see. Yeah, Smoke and Hyde was saying you've got a few things happening at the same time as the Funky gig lately. I've had a few things happening at the same time as Funky and the Two-Tone Baby lately. Yes, I seem to apparently book shows at the same time as him without fail. But then again, he's always on tour, so it's just one of those things. I think I'm just going to have to become his roadie so I can actually see his new music. I haven't seen his live show. Oh, I really got today. I do apologise. I haven't seen his live show for a while, so I'm going to have to do something like, yeah, become his roadie or something, and then I can actually see what he's up to. Right, so those are those things. We've been working on those moving forward. So that's the stuff that I've been working on. Let's do what I've actually been doing. So, gin update. We call this the Aubrey's Alchemy section. So yes, I've got my 3 gins. They're now basically done. I can drink them as merrily as I want to. But now it's the point, if I leave the fruit in, it just gets fruitier from this point on. And I don't mean in a sort of Kenny Everett kind of way. I mean in a just sort of flavoury stuff now. So they're ready to drink. They're all ready to go. And so, yeah, New Year's Eve is going to be absolutely smashing. So, yeah, and it was really simple and really fun to do. If any of you guys have done any brewing over Christmas, do let me know, because it'd be interesting to find out. So got the 3 of those going together, which is smashing, so I can just start drinking that as wherever possible. Like I said earlier on, the sock puppets, I've been organising those onto a shelf. You can see that behind me over there. Just turn that way a bit. You can see Also, underneath, I have got my festive cactus child, which is basically something I found in the range, which was very disappointing. Went to the range where it's normally a tat-filled Christmas haven, and it was a pile of. It was just like a post-apocalyptic version of Santa's grotto, because all of the good stuff. I say good stuff is all naff anyway. Had been bought, and so it was rather desolate. But I did find a tiny sparkly cactus that I did glue eyeballs to. So now he sits at the back of my thing and haunts me. So we've got that. The collection of sock puppet dragons is now complete. So expect some pictures of them as I try and find out who made them and get them badges. So there's that. Oh, so Smoking High said, I've had a crack at some non-alcoholic Campari thing. I need to tweak it a bit. Do keep me updated. I want to know how that gets on. And if you can send some videos in, some photographs, you could be a winner of a very much sought after blue Aubrey badge. So your sock puppets, decoupage, right? So those of you who've been here regularly will know that I have finally finished my guitar case after all this time. I have laminated the shit out of it with varnish, 3 layers of varnish, a load of Sonic the Comic comics, and also I decided to give it a strap because I'm fed up with carrying it around as much. So I literally just got some bits and pieces from B&Q, screwed them in, got an old laptop bag, screwed it in there, and for my own entertainment, I've actually screwed 2 sets of handles in, so I can of eyelets in, so I can have it on the back, and I can also have it on the side as well. So yeah, it's now, if I'm drunk at a gig, I can read a comic, and it's just great. Some of the weird shit I found. Well, it's an Ace Ventura Pet Detective symbol. There's a free boomerang that comes with this, and then just really weird, no context comics, including one with what looks like the story of a transgender teddy bear on the side there. I don't know if you can see that. So it starts off as an angry rabbit and then turns into a happy girl teddy bear in Sonic the Comic in 1996. I think it's just wrong. Anyway, so yeah, I've been doing that, which has been smashing. Took far too much of my time, but I enjoyed doing it. I have been trying to resist the urge to decoupage absolutely fucking everything in my house. I still have loads of comics left, and I've also just found a load of copies of Private Eye. So I may end up decoupaging the living shit out of something with pictures of Ian Hislop's face, but we shall see. Marshall Ampington seems to have lost an eye. Yes, my Marshall at the back has some mega googly eyes, and one of them has fallen off. It won't stay on. I may have to nail it onto the Marshall amp, because otherwise it's some kind of eye surgery, but it just won't stay on. But I will make him live. I've realised there's a high volume of things with googly eyes on the back wall of my office. I've got a Marshall amplifier with massive googly eyes, and for those listening, the googly eyes are the size of a small dinner plate, so they're big. I've got a cactus with googly eyes on it. I've got a mannequin head with googly eyes on it. I've got a selection of terrifying eldritch sock puppets with googly eyes, and then a wall of bee memorabilia that people have sent to me with a high volume of googly eyes. So basically I have a wall of googly eyes behind me. It's like The Hills Have Eyes, but it's The Walls Have Eyes, which is a very terrifying sequel to The Hills Have Eyes. Or is it a prequel? The hill will be there first, wouldn't it? Because then you build the house on the hill, and that's where the wall of eyes were. Anyway, so yeah, there's been a lot of eyeballing going on, so there's been that. As I've realised, that leads on to nicely that what else I've been doing is that typical sort of neuro fizzy thing of constantly tidying my office. I've been rearranging the office about 6 times a day now, but I think I've got it in a way that I quite like. I'm not going to give you the tour of it because it'd be really, really dull, just me showing you like a crap version of Through the Keyhole. Who would work in a shithole like this? A person with loads of eyes. That would be a very old TV reference if you got to talk about Lloyd Grossman talking about people's houses. Because the weird thing is now when you talk about Lloyd Grossman, everyone thinks, what, the Source guy? No, I mean the guy that used to go into people's houses and then you judge them. very old TV program. If you've never heard of Through the Keyhole, Google it and then go on YouTube and watch it. It's really oddly entertaining. It had David Frost in it, which is quite strange. But anyway, so there's that. I'm recollecting, getting my feathers out again, because I was given this by a friend of mine, which I quite like, which is this marvellous feather boa. And I realised that for when I'm working out what to do for costumes, that looks fucking great. And so, yeah, I quite like the way that looks. And also it worked really well when I actually put a suit jacket on, because then it just sort of looks rather feathery. So what I'm going to try and do, I realised I've got a load of feathers, I've got a load of fabric, so I'm going to make a pigeon version of this for my own amusement to complete the pigeon costume thing. And I've got some few ideas of some other things. So yes, I may be gallivanting around this. And this reminds me of something else that I got as well. So those of you who've been watching from the start may be aware of the fact that I just keep on being given weird bits of costume jewellery, clothing, other things from friends who just collect stuff, and then I get to use them for my own devices. I was given, I don't know if you can see this or make out what this is. It's a graduation robe. So I now have a massive graduation robe to add to my selection of cloaks. So I can now, at will, dress like a strange... There you go. I look like Tim from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, or a very weird Hogwarts teacher. The sort of Hogwarts teacher that J.K. Rowling would not want in Hogwarts at all. There we go. I'm just going to spend the rest of the stream dressed like this. This is now what I'm going to wear when I go to work. So I'm just going to see if you can see this properly. So yeah, I've now got a billowing cloak, a lovely little sort of feather cravat. There we go. Fuck my life. Stuff the things that I can just, this is my life now. And I wouldn't change it for the world. So yes, so I've been dressing weirdly, which has been good fun. But the main thing, my main source of procrastination has been, I've been doing a lot of brewing, but I've also been practicing, refining, and developing my vegan Bailey's recipe. And those of you who were listening last week, I hope you're ready, because I asked some of you to bring along the materials to join me in making some vegan Baileys. And like Danny, if you want an Aubrey Blakeledge, a blue Aubrey Blakeledge badge, simply join me in making some vegan Baileys. You can watch this video again when it's on demand on Twitch, or if you're on Patreon, you can see it when it gets posted on there, and follow it again. But for now, you can watch along, and if you've got the materials, make it along with me, or do it again later at your leisure, or just give me a message and I'll undoubtedly tell you the recipe and we do it again and again and again. So, let's begin. So, what we're going to do is, let's have a look at the desk. So we've got a little desk. So what do you need to make vegan Baileys? Well, we've got some scales here. We've got a mixing bowl to put our materials in. We have maple syrup. You can use agave for that, or honey. Downside of honey is it makes it too gloopy and it just congeals in the bottom, and you have to basically heat it up and then cool it down, which takes an extra bit of time. It's more of a local thing, because the problem is with maple, it is obviously Canadian, so it's not very environmentally friendly, and it's quite expensive because it is very nice. You can also use agave, but that is worse for the environment than kicking Mother Nature in the cunt, so I wouldn't bother. And also I find it very, very thin and very, very sweet. So I'm going with maple syrup. You can probably use golden syrup, but that's just, again, too thick and very sweet. Play around with it. Just keep making it and getting drunk. It's the great thing about this. Just keep practicing. Because unless you're an idiot, it's very difficult to fuck it up. And I'm an idiot, and I haven't fucked it up yet. Vanilla extract. We're also going to need some booze. I'm using Scottish whiskey. You're meant to use Irish whiskey because it's meant to be a sort of like fake Bailey's Irish cream. But as it isn't actual cream, it might as well not be Irish. So I've completely gone away, and I've just gone for famous grouse. Basically, any kind of whiskey. I've done it with bourbon, that works, but just a nice blended whiskey. No point getting single malt, because I've tried that as well. It's just a waste of whiskey. Get something that isn't offensively bad. Now, this is hazelnut flavouring syrup. That's if you wanted to change it around slightly and change the flavour from the vanilla. This is just a little idea recently. I tried it, it works really, really well, but basically the amount you'd use for this will be different from what you use for vanilla extract. So what I'll do is I'll tell you the two different versions. I'm going to be drinking a vanilla version, but I will also tell you how to make the nutty version. I know it's confusing, I'll explain later. We need measurement, a little, there we go, I'm seeing where it is on the screen. Okay, tiny measurer. This shot of espresso, if you haven't got an espresso machine, because you're like me, a normal person, I used a tablespoon's worth of instant coffee in warm water, so below boiling, not quite boiling because I don't want to burn it, mix it in there, and then I stirred it in together there. If you're going to make an extra big one, that's for this amount, is a tablespoon, you can double it with 2 tablespoons or a double espresso. I leave that up to you, it's how much fucking coffee you want. And this is a little secret weapon. This is cream, or fake cream. This is the flora stuff, very useful. This is to thicken up the final ingredient, oat milk. You can use coconut milk because it comes with the cream, but the problem is the coconut is a very overpowering flavour. If you like it, it tastes nice, it tastes perfectly fine, but this is, for me, does not get in the way of the flavour of the whiskey and the vanilla and the maple syrup. So we've had a couple of questions. With honey, best thing to do is 2 to 1 with hot water. That way it doesn't solidify when added to cold liquid. That is a genius idea. Thank you very much from Smoke and Hide. I will say that at a regular rate so it makes actually sense. So with honey, the best thing to do is dilute it 2 to 1 in hot water. That way it doesn't solidify when you add it to the cold liquid and it doesn't dilute the flavour. Smashing idea. Effectively, what I did with the coffee, but do it with hot honey. So there's another idea. So the flavouring of honey works really, really well. So either maple syrup or honey will be my 2 suggestions. Right, so we've got our ingredients. This is time to put them all together. So I am going to use this little fella here. So what we need is a blender. Now, this is a bit of a warning. I am going to use the blender, so prep at the moment to be able to mute your headphones if you're using headphones, or take them off, or be ready to take them off. I will give you plenty of notice when I turn it on. It's probably going to be really loud and horrible. So that's a little warning. But I won't just start it randomly, because that would be harsh. Right, so here we are. So what we need is oat milk. Healthy Bagger's turning it up. Yeah, why not? Fuck it. Let's just go mad. Let's go get food-related tinnitus. Just turn up your headphones, push them into your ears, and let's just go absolutely mental. Right, so the first, let's do our maple syrup first. So this, you need 80 millilitres. So I'm actually, because this only goes up to 100, because that's helpful. I'm actually just going to use my scales, which is really handy because it does this. So 80, there we go. Into the blender. Lovely. Now this is where we need spoons. Don't forget the spoons. Tablespoon, teaspoon. We are using a teaspoon, small spoon, and this can just go into the blender. So teaspoon of vanilla extract. Bosh. If you were going to be using the hazelnut to make an alternate nutty version, use 20 ml, which is basically a little bit under a normal shot. Don't be tempted to top it up because this stuff is mega sweet and can be overpowering. Play with it until you get the flavour you like, but yeah, normally 20 ml. So you can imagine we added that at the same time we added vanilla extract. So coffee, like I said before, it is a tablespoon of instant coffee into hot water, not boiling, hot water, stir it all in, mix it together, bung it in. I love the recipes that are basically one pot recipes. We can just throw them all into the same thing because it's just so much easier. Right, well, I'll add the cream in a second. Just want to double check my measurements on this because I keep on overthinking. Because I realised I actually had the recipe on my phone, which is being used as my camera, and I don't want to accidentally put in the wrong bloody one because that would be absolutely rubbish. So I'm use a couple of basic recipes and then basically fiddle with it for to get this sort of flavour that I want, because there's lots of different ways of doing it, but the skeleton of the one that I'm using is from a simple vegan blog. But the most annoying thing about these vegan blogs is they tell you a fucking life story before you try and make the fucking food. It's like, the first time I tried to make vegan Baileys and I realised that I love Baileys because Baileys reminds me of Christmas when I was young. So the first time I thought about doing a vegan Baileys was back in 1876 when my first grandfather came to the country, and it was just tell me how many millilitres of fucking whiskey am I putting in this. So the answer to that question is 80 again. So it's not a huge amount because it is only a liqueur, and the problem is, if you drink too much of it, you will get absolutely blotto. Oh, that reminds me. What ended up happening is last time I made this, I got really excited and drank the entire bottle, and I forgot that I put a load of caffeine in it, like decent caffeine, because in the normal Baileys there's less caffeine than you actually need it. And so I was basically tripping balls, and it took me... I didn't sleep that night. I was up all night because of the amount of fake Baileys I drank, because I'm an idiot. And so now we need 400 ml of our oat milk. So this is the same with, like, if you're going to use coconut, is exactly the same, because the only difference... I'm actually just going to plug this extra bit because there's no point wasting it. There we go. It's a little bit more. Who the hell cares? So this is where this comes in. So using this is single double cream, basically plant-based double cream from Flora. You can get all kinds of different versions of it. There's an Oatly version. There's blah, 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 blah. It's basically for extra consistency, because I don't know if you can see this. It's effectively milk in consistency. I know it's milk because it's oat milk, but it's more oat milk is more watery than regular milk because there's no cream in it. And so if you just use almond milk or soy milk, I mean, why would you use soy milk? It's disgusting. It's very thin, and you'll feel that when you drink it. It doesn't have that lovely creaminess that you're looking for. So that is the upside of using a coconut milk, because it has that really rich, fat, unhealthy, but fantastic kind of texture. But it's just that overpowering coconut taste. This double cream does the same thing, thickens it up nicely, gives you that nice sort of rich creaminess, but doesn't overpower the flavour. So with this, I put 4 tablespoons in, because you don't need a huge amount. I just realised as well, whilst I'm making this, I'm still dressed as a weird, like, fucking Hogwarts professor. A little bit, top that off. There we go. Right, so I've got my cream in this. Okay, very soon, guys, we're going to turn on the blender, so bear that in mind. You've probably got about a couple of minutes, because I'm also going to put ice in it, because that's how you get the nice chilliness. Right, so here's some ice. Okay, so I'm going to put the lid on. And whilst you're preparing yourselves for lift off, I just caught the blender ASMR from the chat. Right, so before we go any further, before I hit the button, what you need to remember for this, as well as your blender, 80 ml of your whiskey, 60 ml of espresso, or as I did it with mine, a tablespoon of espresso, a tablespoon of instant coffee, mixed with some water, pre-mixed, and then bunged in. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 400 ml of your oat milk of choice, 60 ml of your maple syrup, 4 tablespoons of your double cream, your fake double cream obviously, some ice, and yeah, let's do this. Okay, so button here. If you don't want to hear a really loud blender, mute your camera in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's a good start, isn't it? Oh, I've broken it. Oh, fantastic. That's in. That's on there. Right. You're in there. You're in there. And it's not on for some reason. I put it on wrong. Bear with me. I mean, if I did this accurately the first time, it wouldn't be right with me, would it? Try that again. Right, hang on, hang on. There we go. Right. It's actually in the right place. Sorry. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just tuning in, welcome to Aubrey Blakeledge blows out dozens of speakers and causes tinnitus through booze. Okay, that looks absolutely lovely. It's lovely and cold too. Right. At this point, what you'll want to do is have some kind of receptacle to put it in. So I would recommend getting like sand or any sort of finely gripped bit of like stone, heating it to a high temperature so it clumps together, and then putting extra heat around the outside of it while blowing into it to create some sort of vial of what we call glass, allowing that to cool, and then putting your drink in that. To save time, here's one I made earlier. So let's give this a taste. Will it be shit? Will it be nice? Oh, that's a nice bit of... The consistency looks good. The consistency looks very good. I'm very happy with that. Right. If you've got a drink in your hand, raise it up and put it in your face. Oh, yes. That's cracking. I am very happy with that. That's actually better than the last batch I made. So, let me derobe. Just realised I've got my feathers going all over the place. So, I deem that a resounding success. So let's pop that up here. Yeah, so I'm very happy with that. So this is my sort of long Kilner jar with a funnel that I'm going to pour in while we're chatting. So yes, I'm actually quite happy with how that turned out. I thought it would be a little bit disappointing because, you know, like live on the night, that kind of thing. But yeah, this makes about 500 ml of Baileys. And I realised that I am not sleeping tonight because this is very nice. And I'm probably going to drink more of it. Might give it to my friends as a Christmas present. No, I won't give it to my friends as a Christmas present. Bollocks till they're not good enough. I'm just going to keep drinking it myself. Oh, yes. There's something very pleasing about it. I just thought, because I've been sitting here drinking this going, oh, that's very nice. Oh, spot on. And I was one of those people that whenever I used to watch cookery shows, I used to hate it when the chefs go, oh yeah, that's really nice. Because it could taste like absolute dog piss and they just pretend that it tastes nice. I fucking love this. That is actually, I think, the best batch I've done yet. I'm really happy with that. Should have taken the bottles out of the oven earlier. Oh, there's still time. And if, like I said, if you want to join in and do have a go at making this yourself, just watch the video on demand on Twitch, where it will be for the next 7 days. Or join on Patreon, where the podcast version of this will go up shortly. And I probably, what I'll do is as soon as I drink this, I'll put another video of this online. I'll put it on TikTok or something, just because it's an excuse to make more of it. So yeah, very happy with that. Yeah, so if you have a go, take a couple of photographs or something with the end product, because I do like the idea of of this Blue Peter style thing where we make stuff and then we share what mad crap we create together. Because I get the feeling with a lot of people I've been chatting to about these streams who've been watching them and also who like the idea, very very much kindred spirits of people who just like allowing themselves to just let their mind wander into different creative things. Because if you do it, I think this is part of the joy of this kind of what I'm doing with this stream, and as well as I excited booking the shows and such for next year, is if our brains naturally want to do this, obviously in some ways it can be a problem if you wander too much. But I think if you try and deny the way that you work and don't do anything constructive with it, it can cause problems. So I think creating a not safe space, because that sounds like we're being attacked or something, but creating a constructive place where you can just dick around in that kind of way and let yourself be yourself. I think it's a smashing idea. Well, I mean, I'm getting free booze out of it, so of course I'm going to think it's a good thing. I just got, from the chat, El Tibago says, you need to be careful about calling it oat milk. Big Milk won the court case, so you can't legally call it milk anymore. Let's see what happens. If I get sued by some farmers, I'll apologise and then I'll not do it anymore. I get your point. I mean, it's a very valid point. But it's one of those things of there's what's legal and then there's what's actually enforceable. If I was selling it, you'd have a point that I would be worrying about it. I'm not selling it, I'm just drinking it. So, obviously, Oatly, it's oat drink, quite right, there it is. I hadn't even spotted that, yeah, thanks for that. So, obviously, these guys need to worry about it. We don't. In the same way that if you or I decide we've got the munchies next to a large body of water and there's some swans, yes, it's technically illegal for us to eat the swans because they belong to the king, but he's not really going to chase us down, is he? Oh, I am so happy with that. Smoke and Hide is yeah, Big Milk TM can just try and stop us. Yeah, I think, you know what? That is going to be the show title for this episode, just Big Milk can try and stop us. Oh, dear. Right, let's not turn this into a drinking stream. As much as I would quite happily, let's have another one, fuck it. Don't know why I'm putting the funnel back in. But yes, so... Is anyone else drinking, or is it just me drinking? I like that. Yes, going back to the swans idea, mute swans are the only ones owned by the crown and they can't exactly tell on us. Be careful, they can write. I wonder if you have unmuted swans. I was going to say, I'm going to copy that. You need to be careful, what we're calling it. Big Milk TM can try and stop us. Just putting that in my notes to call the stream that. Excellent. Right. I was actually expecting to be fiddling with this, with the oat drink, the Bailey's drink, the fake Irish. I mean, actually, that's the point. I'm going to get the guys in the chat to talk about this as well. Is that if Big Milk is stopping us from calling oat milk, and calling it oat drink, Big Bailey's, Big Bill Bailey's might be trying to stop me from, like, I have to come up with a name for this drink, because it's not Irish cream, because it's not Irish, it's not cream. It's not Bailey's. So what the fuck is this? It's obviously it's fake Bailey's or Faileys. Oh, Faileys, that's a nice name, might call it that. But you know, what would the legal term for this actually be? Because if you can't, if Big Milk are getting us to rename oat milk to oat drink because they feel threatened by massive hippies, what else would we have to change around from this? Yeah, sorry. But I just realised as I was saying that, my brain just sort of wandered off halfway through the sentence. So, whilst you're thinking about that, let's do the housekeeping, because I think that's basically what I've been working on. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. I've just been looking around. You know, it's the usual Christmas sort of Aubrey's Hampshire Oat. That's pretty good. Creme. Aubrey's eight. Technically, we'd say it would be Bailey's, and the last name would be Blakeledge's. Yep. Tipex is known as correction fluid. I realised I'd actually cocked. I managed to get, when I was making this, I managed to get the here's one I made earlier joking. I forgot to get some loo roll tubes and sticky back plastic, because I was meant to have that as the list of ingredients and forgot. Because yeah, one of the things that, you know, they did for Pringles, it was a crisp tube. Tipex is correction fluid. Sticky back plastic is the classic ones. Aubrey Scottish non-cream. They could maybe it's, yeah, because Blakeledge's, no one's going to remember that. Or Blakeledge's not cream, non-Scotch non-cream. Although Blakeledge's sounds a bit like a strip club. I don't know. Oatnog. That's a good name. What the fuck is the eggnog as well? Does anyone here know what eggnog is? I mean, before we come to the end of this. You know what, everyone? I realise this is more for the chat afterwards. So, for those of you listening to the podcast, at the end of this, I'm going to just sit in the chat and talk like that kind of rubbish. We're going to sit there. We're going to drink my non-Baileys, my oatnog, my Aubrey Scottish non-cream, my tip-top correction fluid, and Aubrey's Hampshire Oat, and talk rubbish with the chat. And we're going to come up with some ideas, see if we can come up with a really good name for this stuff. If you want to join in that, you're more than welcome to. Come and join me on Twitch every single Tuesday when we do Fizzy Brain, or at the end of every month for Aubrey's story time. So, coming up gig-wise, we've got Saturday the 14th of December is the last major solo gig. It's the Steampunk Yule Ball in Exeter at the Exeter Phoenix. I believe there's some tickets still available. Come see me do whatever the flying fuck I end up doing. Whether it's performing, singing, dancing, weeping, or comparing. You can find me on Blue Sky, on Threads, fuck Twitter in the face, on Faceache, Instagram, Bandcamp, Spotify, all those usual places. Most of the time just search for Aubrey Blakeledge, because I'm the only silly sod with this name, or search for the Sweet Chunks Band. You can follow me on Patreon. Both Sweet Chunks and myself are on there if you want some extra content, extra bits and pieces, videos, other such delights, or you just want to pay me to get me to dance. Or if you go to the Sweet Chunks Patreon, for £10,000 you can buy Mike the guitarist. So like I said, follow on Twitch for the post-screen chat. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you when I see you, I guess. So I just ran out of brain power then. I seem to be doing that a lot. I think the booze is affecting me. So for this evening, thank you very much for joining me on this lovely stream on this Tuesday evening. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Raise your glasses. If you have a drink in your hand, raise your glass and put it in your face. Thank you very much.